Hey everybody, this is a bit of a strange film. I started off making a film for you about Havana syndrome, and it's turned into a completely different subject, unintentionally, because as I was researching this film, something very strange happened. I also have to say, I don't know if you notice it, I am at this very moment feeling awful. I've just had a COVID boost injection, which is a good thing in my opinion, and I've got a terrible headache and flu-like symptoms. So if I appear a bit subdued and lackluster, that's what's going on. Let me explain what happened in my head and tell you why one film turned into another. So I'm in this Jack Surfati email group, and Jack or somebody in the email group shared this really interesting screenshot of a CIA declassified paper from the Soviet Union from the 1960s or 70s, saying that the Soviet Union had experimented with Havana syndrome type remote human affecting people by electromagnetic frequencies. The Havana syndrome, I assumed, was a modern development instigated by the current Russian regime. But in fact, it dates back to the 1960s and 70s, and it was called bioplasma. So here's the document, and I will go through it with you later. But what happened next was very odd. I wanted to get the original, and it was held by John Greenwald of the Black Vault. And I very much respect John's database. I have often gone to the Black Vault, which is a depository of millions of declassified reports, often from defense organizations like the CIA, and a lot of them are dealing with UFOs or the phenomenon. And so I went to blackvault.com, which I normally do, and it had gone. I mean, literally, the Black Vault had no index. It was still searchable, but there was nothing in it. So I was going, oh, I'll just reload. No, it still was completely empty. So I contacted Black Vault, and what they told me was truly horrific. Over 1 million documents on a private server owned by a large American serving network. He didn't say. I'm guessing it was Google or Microsoft. Wiped his entire library of documents that he has been researching for over a decade. He contacted the server that he pays for, and they had no idea what happened. They said, as far as they knew, they were still hosting all his documents. But he said, well, it's empty. So there's an implication that the US government got into a private server and deleted something they weren't happy with. That's what we think happened. And that just opened a very nasty can of worms, because if a commercial organization such as Google or Microsoft are prepared to delete your information on the whim of this current US regime, where do we stand? It makes modern life totally insecure. If you are seen as politically incorrect to that current regime in the White House, you will get possibly all your stuff deleted. I was really shocked. But then researching that story more, here in France, President Emmanuel Macron has actually... So I started researching that story more about deleting stuff and how insecure we are in the modern world if everything disappeared. Imagine your bank deleted all your money. You don't get paid. You can't spend money on your credit card. Your house gets repossessed. Your car gets taken away. And you've got no control of it because it's all online. That amount of interference, that amount of political interference in your life could literally mess you around. I mean, it's a bit like the character out of the film Brazil. And we've had examples of that in the Ukraine conflict. Elon Musk very much kindly let Ukraine use Starlink for their military operations and navigation using their drones, and then he withdrew it. And then he gave it to Russia, and then he withdrew it. So one person with one political message is now in control of an international conflict, and you as a military leader can't rely on something like Starlink actually being available at the whim of its CEO. And this week in France, the French government said that you can't do government business using Zoom or Microsoft Teams anymore because of the potential danger of political interference. I mean, the whole of a government, a country, is run on Zoom and Teams meetings and sharing data, and we assume that it'll always be there. But at the whim of a political leader in the United States and the kowtowing of Microsoft or Google or Zoom, you could, as a country, be cut off. So France has gone with something called Visio, which does Teams and video streaming, and have banned government departments from using US software. Living here in France, I come across it all the time. European EU law data protection and post-Brexit British data protection, which is like this, it's very similar, restricts Europeans, including British people, from accessing American websites that don't comply with data protection. So what's going on there? Do we shout and scream at the EU for restricting our access? No, I think that it's a very good thing, the data protection. What is actually happening is that American websites and news organizations, here's an example of the LA Times, have not complied with European or British data protection. That means that when you log on to the LA Times and many others, here's the others, you get a notice to say that it's not available for you in Europe because they are selling your data. When you fill out a form to say you'd like to read the newspaper and you give them your name and address, or you just accept a cookie, which automatically sucks in all that information from your computer, that stuff isn't protected. And they earn an income from selling you logging onto their website. So you get the newspaper, but they sell you as a commodity to data brokers. And that's absolutely appalling. And it's good that Britain and the EU have the data protection, but it's incredibly annoying if you want to research something that only appears in an American publication. And that's why I couldn't live without some form of virtual private network. I happen to use NordVPN, but to be honest, I think any VPN, if you live in Europe or anywhere in the world where you are restricted to have access to the World Wide Web, is worth having. NordVPN are offering a special deal associated with my channel and password to give you some months free. Please click on the link if you need a VPN. I would highly recommend it. Something that we like about NordVPN is that we only have one account, me and Dorothy. And we have my edit computer, my phone, my iPad, Dorothy's iMac, and her phone, all on one NordVPN account. So we don't have 5 accounts, and it's incredibly good value. She's American and likes to watch Netflix USA, which is fine because we have a Netflix Friends account, so we're paying for Netflix. And but if you change your country of origin, any VPN, Nord does it, has a map of the world, and you click to become virtually on a server in a different country, so that country thinks you're located there. For me, it's great because I can watch British television, which is restricted if I live in France. So it works really well. Plus, it helps protect your data. But the changing your geographic location is brilliant. Is it going to protect you from Microsoft and Google turning off all your accounts? No. I think you need even more robust protection. There are softwares out there, and I think you should consider not necessarily using North American major players if it's critical to your country or your business. That's what France has insisted that all their civil servants do. No more American websites. So what happened to John Greenwald and the Black Vault? Well, I think it was a classic case of somebody didn't like his, it says here, 3.8 million files were wiped clean after Trump demanded alien documents released. I think there's no evidence that that's really the case, but it happened, and it messed me around because I couldn't confirm or get any more information about Havana syndrome for you to make a film. That's why I'm mentioning it. So let's look at what information that I did find. The Black Vault luckily had a backup, and John Greenwald reinstated the files with a lot of work, no doubt, from a personally held drive, so he could re-upload it. But I think he should really reconsider who hosts his database. If it can't be deleted by a political whim, and those organizations that you think you're paying for go along with that political interference, it's terrible. I mean, what world do we live in? The internet, for a lot of countries in the world, not all, is the basis of our everyday life. I mean, what would stop if you have no internet connection or everything is deleted? It's not worth considering. It's horrific. It would be terrifying. It would be terrifying. It would be terrifying. Oh, my headache. So, maybe I'm being attacked by this Havana syndrome device. So, let's go back to that story. What I'm going to do is read out the CIA document and do something really wacky. You're going to not like this, but I think it was so funny, and I mean it as tongue-in-cheek. While I read the document, I'm going to, ironically, it's supposed to be me being funny, show you the Grok, Elon Musk generated images that Grok AI generated to illustrate the story. They're frankly ridiculous. Some of them are six fingers and people in boxes and all kinds of stuff. It's not intended to be me putting it forward as something which is a good way to make films. I think AI slop is sorry for that good word. I think it's terrible. I think researchers and proper filmmakers do a much better job. So here's the Havana syndrome 1960-1970 existed before Russia has developed it into the system that they probably use today, with unbelievably bad AI slop images. Enjoy, and I hope I feel better tomorrow. Oh, God. Thanks, everybody. The interaction of bioplasmic fields of living organisms with light photon sources. A number of theoretical experiment studies have been conducted to confirm the concept of biological plasma. The biological plasma field is formed through interaction of delocalized weakly bound electrons and protons in the organism. It may enter into different modes of energetic interaction with other types of energetic particles, particularly investigation which evaluated the modulation phenomenon in the bioplasmic field caused by an interaction with light photons. The effect of the light flow on the bioplastic field of the brain may occur through a direct path, such as through irritation of sight receptors by light flashes, or indirectly by radiating the individual with the bioplasmic field of another subject who has been affected by a photic stimulator. The effect of the direct modulation of the bioplasmic field of the brain was established in 1966. The essence of the effect is such that during the action of the sources of flashing light with different frequencies, it was shown that light flashes caused the combined frequency FK1 and FK2 to appear in the brain. This effect was discovered at low frequencies of up to 15 Hz. The conclusion was made that during stimulation by light photons, the bioplasmic field may re-radiate energy in a wide range of physical waves. The same effect was confirmed during illumination of the bioplasmic field. The relationship of bioplasmic radiation with the light photon source was also investigated. The same effect was confirmed during illumination of the bioplasmic field of a rabbit by the light source. It was established that the bioplasmic radiation, the intensity of the light ray at a distance of 1 meter from the subject, decreased to 6 decibels, twofold. This, folks, is the conclusion, which is staggering. These investigations demonstrate the necessity of considering phenomenon of bioplasmic radiation in living organisms during selected conditions of human functioning in a specific practical situation. At the same time, and this is underlined by the CIA, forms of bioplasmic field interaction are possible which may influence the stability of human locomotive functions. Although this was an experiment just using bioplasma fields and light, it clearly demonstrates that a remote Havana syndrome type device was experimented with in the Soviet Union back in the 60s. Thanks, the Black Vault. Thank you for watching. I apologize, and I mean the AI images as a complete joke, but hopefully the truth is just a little bit more out there. YouTube deleted my video. Yeah. Thanks, YouTube. I'm going to upload it again and keep uploading it until you effing stop deleting it. Thank you.